Right now, we're going to talk about the lack of a wall with Mexico with one Ann Coulter. And, well, the wall always comes up, so let's start there. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year.
Oh, it's so much easier when you just jump right into it rather than making me play the game of working the conversation around.
Exactly.
Everything depends on the wall.
Everything depends on the wall and immigration. In fact, I saw you, thank you. You made a great point on Twitter, as you often do, as people were talking about, lamenting about how Virginia, I've talked about Virginia a lot in the last few weeks because new Democrat majority, they want to take away Second Amendment rights. People are going to be rallying, and I'm excited. People are upset about it. But people seem to be missing the point as to how Virginia got here, and you made the point, a lot of it has to do with immigration.
Yes, it's such a game of hide the real story as state after state falls due to immigration, flips from red to blue. Obviously, the most blinding example is California, the state that gave us Nixon and Reagan and what was that, anti-tax initiative proposition. What was it? It was so famous in the Reagan era.
Well, that would be, Prop 13, the anti-property tax thing, and then you had Prop 209 to protect for anti-affirmative action, Prop 187 to protect the border, or to make it so that California doesn't have to pay benefits to people who come into the country illegally because the federal government wasn't doing their job. And Pete Wilson,
overwhelmingly.
Yes, overwhelming. Pete Wilson became governor with a great ad showing a revolving door at the southern border, saying that we can't pay for people from other countries that come here illegally, and look what's happened.
Yes, and you know what they're doing now? They now have a veto-proof, the Democrats, majority in California. I mean, this just shows Democrats do not care about democracy. They'll push it through. And that was, within the last 10 years, remember that big initiative in California about bilingual education? That's when Ron Unz became somewhat famous.
That's right.
He was really pushing how bilingual education is very, very bad for the people it's supposed to be helping. It segregates them. It keeps them, out of the workforce. It was a well-fought battle, well advertised. Both sides, got their claims out. It's pretty much only good for people who teach bilingual education. Anyway, it was resoundingly rejected. Bilingual education would not be taught in California. That is within the last 10 years. Yeah. The legislature have a supermajority. Guess what they're pushing through right now?
Of course.
Thanks for your opinion, voters.
That's right.
But whether it's California and they all claim, oh no, it's because Hispanics were mad at Pete Wilson for pushing, and Republicans for pushing this initiative, provably false.
No.
Hispanics in California vote exactly the way they vote in Texas, exactly the way they vote in Florida. 30% for the Republicans. And Republicans are really excited about that 30%. And I admit, I have personally warm feelings toward, blacks, Hispanics, Asians who vote Republican. But it's not a majority, and that means you're losing Republicans. So this happens in state after state. Texas and Florida may be about to flip, but they always come up with some other way to place the blame, so that Americans will not notice that this one government policy passed by Teddy Kennedy in 1965 is giving the Democratic Party a supermajority in our entire country. It is not government workers in Virginia. Oh, give me a break. Look at the number I cited. 1970, what was it? One of every 300 voters was foreign-born. Today, one of every 9. And that's foreign-born. That's not including the children of all those foreign-born from, 20 years ago.
Yep.
They blame suburban women. No. Look at it state after state. It is always immigration. Open your eyes. And now if we could switch to impeachment.
Yes, we will. It's funny you should say that, because I was gonna say.
Because I'm really mad at Trump.
All right. Why are you mad at Trump? Because of his team he put together?
Number one, you're getting Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers. Oh, for Pete's sake. And the rest of them, well, there are a few good ones, I think. I've no reason to denounce them. The rest of them are just, she must be good. I've seen her on Fox.
Pam Bondi. Yeah, I know. That's my biggest issue. I started the show with this, is that I want people whose sole focus is to make sure the president gets acquitted. I'm not so sure when you've got book deals and you've got TV contracts that's your number one focus.
But this is our president. It's like, get me Matlock. Get me Corbin Burnson. No, sir. Those are TV lawyers. And it's one thing and this Lev Parnev, okay, it seems to me he has absolutely nothing to do with Trump. I don't know what Giuliani's doing hanging around with this sleazeball. I'm a little appalled by this. I wish Giuliani would just go down into history as not only the greatest mayor of New York, but one of the greatest Americans of the 20th century, in the top two. He and Ronald Reagan, as government officials, did more to make all of our lives better than anyone else who has ever served in any position. By cleaning up New York and showing other mayors how it's done, Giuliani saved thousands of lives. New York, the greatest city in the world, the ungovernable city, he comes in and within 3 years he had cleaned the place up. Life is possible. Brooklyn is hip now instead of a no-go zone. You have, the High Line. People can walk and be happy. You can't have life when crime is the way it was under Mayor Koch, under Mayor Dinkins. No, Giuliani was such a great man that it kind of depresses me to see him hanging around with sleazeballs like Lev Parnev. But it's one thing to put up with this crap if we were getting the wall, if we were getting any of this stuff. But no, just 3 nights ago, Larry O'Connor, I see Trump at a rally saying, yep, and we're building the wall and Mexico's paying for it. Larry,
yeah,
that's a lie. He has been built at most 2.5 miles of new wall. It's replacement fencing on 100 miles. Well, okay, it's a 1,600-mile border.
Yeah.
So we're not getting the wall. And by the way, to get Mexico to pay for it, he explained it during the campaign. Obviously, somebody else wrote it for him, and he didn't know what he was even proposing. This is a simple treasury regulation to get Mexico to pay for the wall. You tax remittances. It's right there in Trump's first policy paper.
I remember reading it on the air when it was on his website. It's a simple thing. All these Mexicans who come to this country and then work illegally and send their money back to Mexico, we charge them for the right to do that. It's that simple.
And he doesn't need Congress for that. So don't tell me about, it's Mitch McConnell's fault. It's who was that guy? Paul Ryan's fault. No, it's a Treasury regulation. Just do it. Put a 10% tax. You know how much money was sent back to Mexico alone? Forget all the other countries we're bringing in immigrants from, where they work, drive Americans, take American jobs, and then collect lots of welfare meant for Americans. Sock away some of that money and send it back to their grandmothers in Chiapas. $30 billion to Mexico alone. $30 billion. A few years have taken 10% of that, and Mexico has paid for the wall. Yeah. But he won't do any of that. No. It's whatever the donors talk to him about, and the only donors he seems to be talking to are Sheldon Adelson and Paul Singer, who do not have the same interests as the Trump base. And look. I'm going to be fine if Trump doesn't keep his promises. You're going to be fine. These desperate Americans who are hanging on for dear life, put their hope in this man, thought that he could save the country, save their jobs, get them good paying jobs, clean out their neighborhoods, build the wall, deport illegals, put Americans first. And no, we get none of that. And now I have to watch Lev Parnev, a tertiary advisor to the president.
All right. Now, Ann, before I have to deal with all the emails of people who are very mad at you for daring to be frustrated with the president, I just need to get you on record. Do you think the president should be impeached?
No, of course.
All right.
This is nonsense.
And are you going to vote for Elizabeth Warren? And are you going to vote for Elizabeth Warren?
Look, it doesn't matter who I vote for. I voted for, I'm ashamed to say, but what the heck, I wasn't going to vote for Obama. I voted for John McCain. My vote means nothing. Trump, it's not going to, if you're asking, do I think Trump is going to win or lose? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking that. I hate the predictions, but do you?
Yeah, but I'm sick of Republicans having their chronic overconfidence and, just this boastful, it's going to be a landslide. Well, no, thanks to immigration, it's basically impossible for it to be a landslide. Can Trump squeak through? I don't know, but it would be a lot easier if he'd keep his promises to the ones who are mad at me right now, even though they're going to suffer more than I do if he doesn't keep his promises. And I'm fighting for the rights for the lives of all Americans.
That's right.
But if he wants these people to vote for him, he better start remembering who put him in office. And it wasn't Sheldon Adelson and Paul Singer or Jared Kushner.
Thank you, Ann Coulter. I love talking to you every week. I can't wait to talk to you next week.
Forward the emails to me.
No. I don't. Oh, by the way, I don't say that because I hate the email. I love getting responses back, and I love getting you on record because you're passionate and you believe what you believe, no matter who the politician is and no matter what the party is, and that's why I have such admiration for you. So I appreciate you joining us as always.
Thank you, Larry O'Connor. Great to talk to you.
Let's check in with Ed Rodriguez, who's in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Such a shrinking violet.
I know. She really needs to speak her mind.
In Merrifield, we are really slow. Everybody's speaking their mind. We're jammed from the Beltway first to 123, and then slower from the Fairfax County to the Bull Run Rest area. Not as bad as usual.